Hey, what's going on out there in the land of the YouTube's videos? I'm Spencer,
I'm Trevor.
and we're Team Rocket,
Team Brossman.
Team Brossman. I watched 6 of the Pokemon movies. There's 16 of them. I watched 6 of them. Anyway, so I was asked to give a brief history of Complete Inbox, and I'll emphasize brief. I won't give you guys this long diatribe or anything. There's really not much to it, but people were interested because we've been around for almost 2 years now. We're already having to plan the 2-year anniversary, which is kind of hard to believe, huh? Time flies when you're having fun.
No, but seriously, it really did fly.
It actually did. I still remember, we opened in July 2011, and I still remember, not only coming into what became Complete Inbox when it was literally nothing in there, just floor and white wall, but, not even it having this back wall on it, just, a huge open area, and going, what can you do with this? But, I'll always still remember, when we first opened up, we had the entire back room, which is pretty sizable, just filled with games that needed cleaned and to get the stickers off and to be alphabetized and to be categorized and to have stickers printed out for them and all this stuff. And we would just sit there for 12 hours a day, 12 hours a day just doing that. And one day would be okay, I made 30 piles. One is NES, one is SNES. And I remember it took us so long to do that we went through the entire Dragon Ball Z series, not a season. There is 9 seasons of that, 280 episodes at 20 minutes each. So
Do the math.
Do the math.
And at the time, I was still in high school, so I think things started getting underway around May, maybe a little bit earlier, April. So I was still in school and I was getting ready for finals, so I couldn't really help. But when I got back, I started helping in June once I graduated, and there was still so much to do. It was so much work.
It was and
we had a lot of help, though.
Yeah, a lot of my friends would just come in on their days off and just do it because I would be here pretty much every day, and someone would come in for a couple hours here and there, and it was just you couldn't imagine walking into that just a room with I think all we had at the time was 2 tables set up to clean stuff on and 2 chairs and just piles of games. So that was completely ridiculous. And is someone calling after business hours? Don't they know we're open 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday, 11 to 5 on Sunday? They'll know now.
That feel when we used to open at 12.
We used to open at 12, now we open at 11, and it's pretty necessary. I hope to not open at 10. Anyway, so as a lot of you may know, I did work at GameStop in the past. As much as everyone pretty much despises GameStop nowadays, they used to be a really cool company, and I'm not just talking about Funko Land. When GameStop was GameStop in 2004, 5, 6, 7, they were a cool company. You still had to get pre-orders and stuff like that, but it was cool. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, they were still a corporate business, but they were there were a lot more businesses that were a lot worse.
Yeah, and then there was a slippery slope. It started with the whole, I think they got scared when the whole DLC thing started and all that, and they just started taking iPads and iPhones and not taking PS2 and Xbox and all of whatever. But I used to work there in the past, and then I worked at a couple other small game stores, and it's not I sat there and went, these guys are all doing it wrong, I want to do it better. But one day I just sat there, it was, I think, there was a very small time frame from the beginning of the idea to when we actually opened. It's actually unbelievable to think about, but I remember sitting in my room and starting to write up the idea for the store, and it was early January. It was right after the new year of 2011. Now, it's impossible for me to believe that we opened in the middle of July of that same year. So it was roughly 6 months, and a lot of that was we were already in the store for 2 months there getting stuff ready. So, That's really difficult to believe, but yeah, I just started writing stuff down. We talked about it in the past, and I wrote down and I go, if I got a little bit of money to start up, I think we could do this. And that's how every idea starts. You're I think we can do it. I don't know, but I think. And I showed the idea to my dad. It was it was maybe 30 pages in a binder, and I was he's gonna think this is stupid, but whatever, at least I tried. And my dad's not usually the kind of guy, he'll believe in you and stuff, but he's not usually the kind of guy that's I think you should take this big jump, son. You know what I mean? And he was
yeah, he's actually the opposite of that.
He's pretty much the opposite of that in everything. If you ask him an opinion, he'll be try to take like the path of like least resistance. But for that, he was actually like, I really like it. I think you should show it to someone who knows business. And I was like, what? Like, I didn't expect that. So it just went on from there. I found the place. One day I was eating at Burger King, I think, and I saw that Trout Run, this area was open. And I don't know why I liked it. Like, I don't know why. Like, I'm not going to lie to you folks. I had, like, no, like, population census to look at, or like the only thing I really had in mind was, hey, there's no GameStops or game stores around here. I think it could work. That's literally, I mean, it literally could have failed like really bad based on that looking back, but I guess it's like intuition. But yeah, I spent the first couple of months not only working, and Trevor was still in high school, obviously. I was working 40 plus hours a week, and I was trying to find stuff for the store. Because, like, when you start up, and when you're a startup, you need stuff. You need racks, you need disk buffers, you need games and stuff like that. And I spent, like, months just, like, going to Blockbusters, buying their stuff out, going on trips, like, to New Jersey, and, like, coming back with a car full of video games. And do you remember where we originally had everything stored before we moved it into here?
I actually don't.
You don't?
No.
It was at the house.
Was it?
Yeah. What's a place that you wouldn't imagine video games and arcade machines being stored?
Oh yeah, it was in our barn.
We live on a farm back over in the Five Point Village area, and like for like a month, like everything, including 4 of these arcade machines, were stored in the barn because what am I just gonna bring like thousands and thousands of games and stuff into like a house and be like, just deal with it? So I just left it in there until we finally opened in here, and like. The day that we first moved in, it was freaking June, and it was the hottest day in the world. And, like, I just remember, like, renting U-Hauls and being, like, already dying, because I get really hot, and so does Trevor when it's really hot. And, like, just moving stuff in and moving huge arcade machines. And, like, at the time, I never moved anything big before. And, like... It's really, really weird how it worked out, and I know we've done some renovations in the meantime, but, like, when I first came in, like, I had the measurements, and I measured kinda what I thought stuff would fit, and then when we started sitting stuff down before we built it, my friends were like, you know, this will probably work the way you have it set up, and I was like, what? You know, like, the arcade machines were, like, the right size, and the racks were the right size and everything. So that was kind of interesting to see, like, everything come up, and like I said, we spent that month or two just cleaning games. Like, you cannot imagine, like, how monotonous it was. And, like, it was cool once in a while because I bought so much stuff at once. Like I said, I would come home from places with a car full of stuff because someone would have, like, say... They have, like, kind of like Green Dragon stuff everywhere. Like, I would go to, like, one of those places, and they'd have a bunch of stuff, and I'd be like, I like it, I'll take it all. Because I had to have stuff to open it up.
And it was unfortunate because the place closest to us is terrible at video games, so it was no market to buy from there.
Yeah, like, I couldn't go to Green Dragon and buy stuff because everything there is, in my opinion, you know, not what I'm looking for. And I had to go places like Pittsburgh, New Jersey, buying stuff from friends in Pittsburgh, all this kind of stuff. And that was always insane. But it was fun, like, when we would start to... Because I collected games, but only games I knew. So once in a while, I would type something in to see the price of it, and I'd be like, this game's $200! And, like, I didn't know. Like, that's pretty exciting. Like, there's something like that nowadays. Unless something really weird comes in, I know what the price is, for the most part. And back then I was like, how is this Nintendo game $100? Like, I remember that happened for a couple of them, so. Can you tell them what you remember from, like, opening, like, day and, like, your feelings on that?
My memory is pretty bad, but I do remember that day. It was one of those days that you were looking forward to it, and you're like, are people actually going to, like, come in? And then... did we open, like, early that day?
It might have been, like, 10. It wasn't, like, 8 or anything like that.
But the entire day, especially for the first day that we're ever open, we don't even know what we were expecting. Besides Spenser's maybe, like, 100 friends, we didn't know who would stop in or anything like that. Like, you go into our store today, and we have so many games. We have so many games, we don't even know what to do with them.
It's freaking true.
But at the time... We didn't have that many games. We couldn't without facing a lot of games out, we couldn't even fill our shelves. So we were thinking like, oh, what if we don't have the game that the people are looking for? But it turned out that it was ridiculous. The day from beginning to close, it was very busy. it seemed like people were actually looking forward to it. Not just like Spencer's friends and relatives. It was like even just like strangers there were like, oh, this is pretty cool, and they checked it out, and it was a really busy day.
Yeah, I remember, like, my memory, like Trevor, I guess Brosmans don't have good memories, but I remember, like, meeting some of the customers we still have to this day that come in, like, once a week, like, whatever. Like, I remember the Wagamans came in, like, the first day. Yeah. And, like, I don't know why. It's, I guess, momentous occasions you remember. Like, Fred bought, like, Silent Hill, I think. Something like that. And there's some customers that I met on, like, the first day. The weirdest thing was there were some customers when I worked at other game stores or GameStop, and I didn't know them as friends, like my friend Ryan Miller or Wayne Horn. I only knew them from working in game stores, so it's not like I even knew what their name was or like had their contact information. But like they were there the first day, and I remember Ryan Miller was like, "Oh, dude, this place is cool. Do you work here?" And I was like, "No, I opened it." He was like, "What?" Like, I specifically remember that because we interviewed him that day for some YouTube thing, and it was really funny because I was like, "Oh, dude, you used to come into the place I worked all the time and get games." And he's like, "Well, I'm coming here now. I live right there." And I'm like, "I had no idea where you lived. I don't know that." So that was really cool. And like Trevor said, it was like I didn't know what to expect. I was like, it'd be nice to make like $500. You know what I mean? And like, we don't discuss like information like that, but like, we did better than that, which is, yeah, like was awesome. Like, I didn't know what to expect. I was like, well, and now we can't make any promises or anything like that, but my goal was to have everything with the initial payment paid off, or the initial loan and everything paid off in 5 years. And I honestly think that will be something that will be happening in 3 years. And like, that's unbelievable. Like it was literally upstart. Like I had to buy like $5,000 disc buffing machine because you know what? It's something you need. Like we use it every day. It's literally our most valuable employee because we use it. Like how many games did you buff today? Like
100.
Like 100 games. And like you can't use those hand crank ones, and you can't use like little disc doctors because people look at it and go, "What is this crap?" We didn't need arcade machines, but I wanted something to set us apart. We needed a POS, all this kind of stuff that like I'm still like slowly paying off, or through everything. So like that's unbelievable. That I think that's something that will happen if we continue in the direction we're going. So that's really cool. And Trevor and I always joke about like, this isn't gonna happen, and like I don't think ever or anytime in the future we're like, oh, what about like a second store or a bigger store or something like that. It's like something that's way off in the distance because it's literally just me and Trevor, like what, like not literally 95% of the time, and like we're busier than ever. It's like to the point where like I'll come in on my days off at like 7 a.m. to like catch up on stuff because it's ridiculous. So like I there's no way I can run over 2 stores without like going freaking crazy. But yeah, like I said, the first couple months were crazy. It went down a little bit because no games were coming out. Then our first holiday season, like we didn't know what to expect. Like we had no idea. And then like we would we would see like random people we never saw before, and we're like, what? This is cool. So I don't know. Overall, we have it's really neat. Like I don't do any advertising besides putting stuff on our website and our Facebook. And like when we have stuff like a Super Smash Bros. Event, and there's like, I don't know, like 200 people like in it, like overall throughout the day, like that's crazy. Like I don't even like know how that happens. It's just really cool. And I don't know. Can you think of any like cool memories you have of like before we opened or like after we opened a little bit in? Because I guess people are more familiar now with us, but like maybe not so when we first opened.
Actually, when we were first opening up, it seemed like Spencer really had an idea of how the store was going to be set up. You come in, we just recently changed how the store is looked. It's not like dramatically different, but we moved like the arcade machines around, the display cases around. But before it opened, pretty much Spencer knew where it was going to be, and there wasn't really that much change from where it was 2 months before we opened to when we opened, and then it stayed like that for a solid year and a half. So
it's true. I mean, until literally like 2 weeks ago, we added some stuff. We moved some small things here or there, like some like little display things, but like for the most part, it's where it was. And I have friends to thank for that. Like I would show them like the pictures, and they'd be like, "Oh, that should go there," and everything, and that was cool. I obviously can't take all the credit for that. I do remember one time, one of those days while we were in the space, but before we opened as a store, when we were back there cleaning games, where Taco Bell had that like it was $1 Crunchwrap Supremes. I think it was $1 Crunchwrap Supremes, and I got literally like 12. And it was just me and Trevor all day, and we somehow ate all the Crunchwrap Supremes. Oh god, that was the worst. It was the best, but the worst. And by the end of the day, I don't even think, honestly, we had a microwave at that point. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. But like, at the end of the day, they're all, like, soggy and cold, and we're like, Dragon Ball Z and Crunchwrap Supremes. Just thinking about it, all the freaking chemicals used to clean the games, we were probably, like, dying from it. Like, oh, yeah, Taco Bell and chemicals. Yeah. So, if you guys have any like questions you want to know about like, hey, how'd you do this? The one thing I should stress, and I think this is Trevor can give his 2 cents on this as well. I have a lot of people come to me, a lot, asking for business advice. I don't think, and Trevor can be as nice as he wants on this. I think in some ways I got lucky, and in some ways I knew what I'm doing. But I think that I have a very specific way of doing it that won't work for like 99.9% of all businesses. So like I appreciate it, but like I can give you what I think, but like what works for me might not work for you. And a lot of people say something like, oh, I have this plan of opening up like my own game store, or oh, my buddy is really, really interested. Just know that the last 2 years plus have been like this. Like I have a social life, I have a house and fiance and friends and all that stuff. But it's been this. On my days off, it's this. On my days here, it's here early, sometimes here late. It's setting up events. It's doing this stuff. You are going to be doing it for 60 to 80 hours a week, always. Yep. So, and like even Trevor is doing it like probably 60 hours a week, like always. So even when you see me out here, Trevor's doing something in the back, like rearranging or like cleaning. So like it is a huge step. So if you're going to put yourself in a like, it's something to, like, follow your dreams and to be your own boss and everything, and there's truth to that and not. You're your own boss, but there's always, like, the government being like, do this! And, of course, you can't, like, I can't be my own boss. Like, I can't come in here, like, wearing, like, only underwear and being like, what's up? Get out. You know, like, I'm not gonna do that. So, like, you can be your own boss, but, like, it's like putting yourself into, like, a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 hole for something you love that you will literally not be able to not go away from unless you want to pay someone a heck of a lot to do it with you.
Yeah, like the beginning startup, like getting the loans, getting the idea, getting the location, that's hard. But you also, I would say 75% of the time you have to look at what will happen in the future after you open the store. If this happens, what do you expect? How many hours do you expect to work a week? How dedicated are you to doing this? And realizing that you will not be in the position where you just have to work a job. You don't really care about it. You work a job to get money, and that's pretty much all you do. When you start a business, you have to look at, this is going to support my life and my family for years to come, hopefully.
Yeah. And, like, it's not to be taken lightly. Like, I don't have... We'll both take vacations. You just took one. I took one to go to Ocean City. Like, that'll happen. But, like, I don't, like, have full weekends to go out and do whatever I want. You know what I mean? Like, Trevor's here one Sunday. I'm here one Sunday. We're both here on Saturdays. I'm here on Friday. And, like, you're here for the weekends. You're here all the time. There's no, like, 9 to 5. It's scary. I can tell you it's scary. Trevor, it's... Some of my close friends know, but I usually don't talk about it, and I guess I will levy this information upon to you. There was one specific time where I was so... we were busy, but I was so afraid that we would have to close. Do you remember that time? Mm-hmm. It was the first big holiday season we have. Like, before December rolled around, where, like, people started getting Christmas gifts and big games were coming out. At the time, Gears of War 3 came out in September, then Battlefield 3, and I think Uncharted 3 and Batman Arkham City. A lot of good games that you get.
Modern
Warfare 3. And, like, I'm going to be honest with you folks, games are expensive. I really, really wish I could sit here and tell you that, like, the new game you buy has like a 50% markup, like that would be cool. I would really enjoy that. My loan would be paid off already if it had a 50% markup. It would be totally paid off. But like they're expensive. If you pay blank to me, I have to pay blank for that. So that being said, when you order 100 copies of a game, it's scary. That's like $5,000, $6,000, $10,000. And I remember Battlefield 3 came out, and then there was a couple lean weeks, and then Uncharted 3 came out in November 1st. And then November 8th was Modern Warfare 3, and November 11th was Elder Scrolls Skyrim. And both were huge midnight releases and huge events. And I literally, no joke, for my personal bank account is also the business's bank account. And it was, I think that's me getting a call. Oh. It was, yeah, see, it never stops. It never stops. I literally spent every dollar I had, with like a couple $100 left over, to buy Modern Warfare 3. Literally, if the weird scenario happened where no one came in and bought Modern Warfare 3, I'd have 100 copies of Modern Warfare 3 and no money. Mm-hmm. Like, that was a thing. And then Skyrim came out 3 days later, so I have to buy it 2 days later, and I was literally just sitting here like, oh my god, I really hope people buy Modern Warfare 3 with some money so we can afford to get a little bit of Skyrim. You know what I mean? And it ended up working out and everything, but like that was, it's always, you gotta put money into it, but like that was like, you know, when I started getting pre-orders and there were like 50 pre-orders, and I'm like, well, there's gonna be a lot of people not pre-order, so I gotta get 100 copies, you know what I mean? And like, it was like, spending, I was like, I'll just do it. I'll spend every dollar on this and hope it works out. And like, that was super scary. Like, I sat there for a couple days just going like, what if, like, everyone just goes to, like, GameStop instead to buy, even though our games are cheaper, what if everyone's just like, well, that place probably doesn't get new games. Why should I go there? So, there will be scary moments. I mean, there's still scary moments, you know. There's a bunch of bills to pay and everything, so you always, but do you have anything else to add?
What, to, like, people that...
No, just, like, anything in general. I'm trying to think of, like, I think we gave a pretty good, like, idea of how it was when it first started out, and, like, obviously things are stabilized now. Mm-hmm. Like, things are stabilized. Like, we have, like, normal work schedules. We have friends that come in that want to, like, volunteer and stuff like that. Like, we know what happens when you have events and stuff like that, but it was, like, there's still crazy days. I mean, I remember coming in this last Black Friday. We opened at midnight. And I just live over on State Street. I live a couple minutes away, and I was laying in bed at 10 p.m. thinking, I cannot go to sleep. Like, if I go to sleep, I'm screwed, because we opened at midnight. So I just came in. I was like, if I'm walking around the store, I'm not going to fall asleep. And there were people waiting outside of the dark store with nobody in here, all the lights off at 10 p.m. And I was like, and it was cold that night. And I was like, what are you doing? Or it's like Trevor came in at 7 a.m. the day after Christmas, and there were already like 20 people in here at like 7 a.m. And he like, his face was like, what? So there's always those surprises. So, like I said, if you guys have any questions about anything, ask me or Trevor. If I'm ever not in the store, there will be, for the next couple of months, I will not be in quite as much. I'll be, you know, I'm a business owner. I got to go out and do stuff. I go around, talk to people. I got to go pick stuff up. I got to do errands. I got to make business calls. If Trevor's in here, feel free to ask him anything. He can do trades. He can do all that stuff. I'm not that cool of a guy. So
as long as it's not his question like, hey, do you want to partner up as a business or something like that? Like, I got a call today from Hyperkin that makes like generic like controllers.
Wait, Hyperkin makes Retron 3s.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I'm just finding this out.
Called literally today, and I was like, well, I'll take your information, and that's all I can do about
You'll have to tell me about that later.
I did write it down so you can see it.
No, they're the ones who make the Retron 3s and all the retro controllers and stuff. That's kind of funny.
So, pretty cool.
That's kind of interesting. But yes, ask Trevor anything. If you call and ask me and like are like, this complaint box, this is Trevor, oh, can I talk to Spenser? And I'm sitting in the back. If I'm sitting in the back, I'm a hard worker. If I'm sitting in the back, I'm doing something, correct? Mm-hmm. I'm not just sitting there. And for Trevor to come back and be like, Spenser, it seems important. This is Spenser. What PS3 games are good? Trevor can answer that better than I can. I appreciate it, but you could ask anybody. Even if there's someone helping out or volunteering in here, just ask them. It's completely fine. So I think that's all we have for you today. Thank you for watching. If you want to see any videos in the future, let us know. Any Let's Plays, let us know. Any stuff like that, let us know. Any events, yada, 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 yada.